Oh my God, you guys come in and sit down and shut the door. This Gene Hackman case has taken the darkest turn ever. Remember the carbon monoxide theory that oddly enough, his daughter kept pushing over and over, even though the Santa Fe gas company was like, we've checked, there's no carbon monoxide. And what's more, toxicology experts say that if one dog died of carbon monoxide, then the other one would because dogs are smaller than us and their hearts can't take respiratory can't take as much carbon monoxide. It was a non-starter. Well, get this. The toxicology report has come back, and Gene Hackman and his wife, Betty, tested negative for carbon monoxide. There's even more information. His pacemaker stopped on February 17th. However, Betty is showing intense signs of mummification. Investigators are now saying that they are unsure that Gene and Betty left this earth at the same time. But you guys, it gets even deeper. It gets even deeper. They have the date that his pacemaker stopped, which was February 17th. And now they are declining to say anything and they want to go full autopsy. Y'all, let's get into this because there is so much to talk about. This is directly from Variety. Gene Hackman and Betty Arakawa's bodies test negative for carbon monoxide. Again, what's the daughter going to say now? Because she was so sure it was carbon monoxide and she was so pushing. And the funny thing is, the way their bodies were found is commonly the way when people are conscious and there's carbon monoxide poisoning, the way they fall out. It looks like they just collapse wherever they are. They get dizzy, they get nauseous, they get disoriented, and then it's a big collapse. Gene was found in his mudroom, collapsed over. They actually think his fall is what ended him. Betty was found in the bathroom. There was a space heater by her head, right? And prescription pills were scattered everywhere. Now the police actually did release what those prescription pills were. It was only a common thyroid medication and a blood pressure medication. And they all said that even when people take dozens of them at the same time, the odds that can end somebody, unlikely. And they have accounted for all the pills there. Now, I think they should actually test to make sure those are actually the right type of pills. I'm just saying, nothing makes sense anymore. So we might as well start playing Clue Murder Mystery. Okay, so anyway, the deaths remain under investigation. Santa Fe County Sheriff Adam Mendoza shared at a press conference Friday afternoon in a statement. Mendoza stated that both Gene and Betty's tested negative for carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, it's unclear whether they tested the dog. Wow. I hope it wasn't anything like the dog was just in the closet and they accidentally shut him in and then the dog couldn't eat or drink anything and there was no one there to feed him. Just tragedy upon tragedy. They're saying the sheriff has disclosed that Gene's pacemaker recorded its last event on February 17th, meaning that it's currently assumed that that is the date that Gene died. But here's the thing. He said there remains uncertainty over the order of the couple's death. Let's not forget that it was first reported that Betty showed signs of mummification. Mummification starts at to show signs, deep signs, 2 weeks going up to 4 weeks. That means that Betty could have actually been passed away before Gene did, and Gene passed away after that. Now, if this is true, then how did Gene walk around the house and not know that Betty, his caretaker, according to his children, the woman always taking care of him, the woman that took such good care of him, that was in charge of his meds, his doctors, their schedule. She was a type A, She was a type A energy in the relationship. How would you not know that woman wasn't there? On top of that, let's think about that shepherd. And I'm not implying anything happened, but I am running through possible scenarios given the information we have. Let's look at that German shepherd. That German shepherd was found deceased, okay? German shepherds are very, very loyal creatures. Nobody has said on what the German shepherd's toxicology report is and whether the German shepherd had any signs of struggle or anything. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if the German Shepherd is just sitting there and passed away peacefully, then it's like, okay, maybe it didn't get fed, maybe something happened. But when you look at the fact of what was the condition of her protector, the fact that she was by Betty, or the German Shepherd was by Betty, it makes you think what was going on. Again, I find it interesting that the sheriff's department is not releasing any information on the state of the dog or the dog's toxicology. And you can't tell me that they didn't actually apply for one. Oh, but there's a little bit more too. Again, the children were the ones that kept put, not the children, both daughters. The son has remained largely silent, but one daughter actually did an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail. Daily Mail interviews are paid. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying they are paid, saying that, no, it definitely has to be carbon monoxide. I think it's carbon monoxide, even when everyone said it's not carbon monoxide. But again, I don't want to judge anyone's daughter because death is a hard thing, and maybe she's just having trouble accepting what's going on. Anyway, they said the final toxicology and autopsy reports remain pending, a process that Mendoza says could be a month or 3 months or even longer. Initial findings indicate that there was no external trauma to either individual. If that's the case, and they did an autopsy and they couldn't find stroke, heart attack, then it had to be poison of some sort. They should test those prescription pills to make sure that they're actually the pills that are in the body. Why does the toxicology report take so long? Because you are now testing for every toxic substance known to man, both known and very arcane. It is a lot of substances, is a lot of testing. But again, in their investigation, Variety is reporting authorities collected 2 green cell phones, 2 bottles of medication, thyroid and blood pressure, 1 bottle of over-the-counter Tylenol, a request for medical records, and a 2025 monthly planner for evidentiary purposes. The sheriffs also stated they have also stated they have found no security inside or outside the residence that they can collect to help determine a timeline. Authorities will continue to conduct interviews with workers within the gated community. Wow. Again, this is a lot. At the beginning, you'll remember the bodies were found alongside one of the dogs. The other 2 one was happily playing outside, the other one was sitting by Betty. The death at first was stated that they thought no foul play was suspected. The death has now been deemed suspicious. I believe it will be upgraded to murder. Interestingly enough, when it comes to planning a funeral, an autopsy can be done. Once an autopsy is done, you can plan a funeral, even if it's a closed casket. I find it odd that nobody's planning a funeral yet. On top of that, it doesn't matter whether they were murked or it was natural causes. It's still a funeral. And I find it odd that the daughter said that kept pushing carbon monoxide. Maybe it was out of denial, but she literally said she was not going to step foot in the state of New Mexico until the police investigation was done. Now, again, if I take out the nefarious nature of that statement, and I look at what it meant, it could have been it's too painful. Also, somebody brought up a good point that the children are in their 60s or at least late 50s. Maybe they are not well and it's hard for them to get around. But then again, Gene Hackman lived a long life until 95, so I would think his genes are in his children. But my whole point of the matter is none of the children have gone to retrieve the body. None of the children have started funeral. They are all waiting. Again, it's very sudden. It just happened, but I believe they said this happened Wednesday. It is Friday. Who is making arrangements? Again, what do you guys think in the comments? This story is developing minute by minute. Keep in mind that, and these are the facts, they were found after a concerned maintenance worker contacted neighborhood security to perform a welfare check. Why? In the 911 call, he saw somebody in the house and he said, like, you need to send somebody out. He was crying, sniffling, yelling, damn. He said the door was open. But when the police came, the police, I think, reported that they were shut in the house. Now, the worker could have shut the house, when you're not thinking clearly, But also, even after the worker called with somebody else in the house, we also need to look at the fact that they are now saying that Betty was far more decayed than Jean was. Now, that could be because she fell next to a space heater and the space heater was on. Perhaps that helped with the dehydration process for the mummification. Or it could be something more along the line. Listen, I'm speculating at this point, but again, no obvious signs of death, body decomposition, bloating in her. There was Betty's body showed no obvious signs of death. I'm sorry. She showed obvious signs of death, body decomposition, bloating in her face, and mummification in both her hands and feet. Yeah, you guys, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. His daughter swears that he was in very good physical condition. She said that she was aware that he died, but it wasn't terribly shocking. That I thought that was a weird use of words. Yeah, he's passed away, but it's not shocking. He's 95. I don't care if somebody is 300. It's always going to be a shock that somebody passed away. She said her father had a wonderful marriage, saying she took very, very good care of him and was always looking out for his health. I appreciate her for that, and I'm very saddened at her passing. Yeah, you guys, I don't know what to say. Let me know when you think what you think in the comments. We are going to keep abreast of this. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.